Welcome to King's Corner. I'm your host, Christian King. On today's episode, we're doing the NFC West offseason grades. This is one of the most prolific divisions in all of football. But before we get started, you'll see right below me there should be a subscribe button and a like button. Please hit it. When you subscribe, I'm going to give you as much sport content as one would want, and I'm hoping to be the voice of reason for all of you. And if you enjoy what you're seeing, please press that like button. It just lets me know that whatever topic I'm talking about, you want to see more of it. But anyway, let's get into our first team. Right here, you'll see we have the Seattle Seahawks who get a D. And I know some of you are going, didn't they just win the Super Bowl? How are they this low of a grade? Well, just because of what you did last year. And if you won a Super Bowl last year, well, good job for you. That doesn't precedent you to have anything higher than a C if you want to. If you had a horrible offseason, this grade's going to let you know what you got. And they got a D for a reason. They let all their key pieces walk. Reek Woolen, and I know some Seahawks fans were happy to see him go, but he was still a big part of that defense. He wasn't the greatest, but he's a manageable part. I don't agree with the depth moves. Kenneth Walker understood he got a lot of money, but what's your plan at running back? Zach Charbonnet just got injured. He's not going to be ready for the first half of the season. You drafted the Notre Dame running back in the first round, but he was the second fiddle to Jeremiah Love. What's your plan in the running game? Not to mention they have a new offensive coordinator who isn't Clint Kubiak, who just left. And he doesn't come from the Kubiak system. He comes from San Francisco, which is a variation of the system and the Shanahan variation. But it's a whole new scheme that this whole team is learning. I don't agree with the moves the Seahawks made, though I think they'll still be good this year. Probably. I love their head coach. But a lot of their moves they made this offseason, they were just staying stagnant. And I've told you guys previously, in the NFL, stagnant never works. You either improve or you don't. And right now it looks as if they didn't improve. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know, all Seahawks fans, why I'm wrong. But let's move on to our next team. And that team is the Arizona Cardinals. I liked a lot of what they did this offseason. They got Matt LaFleur's little brother and Mike LaFleur. They added some pieces on the offensive and defensive side. I already love their defensive coordinator, Nick Rawlis. But my biggest gripe with them is I didn't agree with their draft. Why do you draft Jeremiah Love when the last thing you needed was running back? You invested in free agency heavy in running back when you went out and got Algier from Atlanta. What are we doing, Arizona? Why would you go out and get more running back? Running backs in 2026 do not generate to wins. It needs to be a cohesive unit. And I know some of you are going, what about Derrick Henry? What about Saquon Barkley? Saquon Barkley was behind one of the greatest offensive lines in all football. And there's only ever been one Derrick Henry. I can't say anything other than he's 6'5", 280 pounds, and a freak of nature. But when you look at this Cardinals team from top to bottom, I can say they've improved. Maybe Mike LaFleur can get something out of them that they haven't had before on the offensive side. But I don't know how much he'll improve that offensive unit because they were a good offensive unit last year. Trey McBride's one of the best tight ends in all football. Marvin Harrison Jr. is an up and ascending wide receiver who's had a struggling first 2 years, but you'll notice a trend. A lot of receivers take about 2 or 3 years to get acclimated to the physicality of the NFL game. But when you look at this team on the offensive side, there's talent. Their offensive line still needs to be improved a little bit, but there's talent there. And defensively, there's talent. But the reason I didn't agree with their draft wasn't just because of the running back. What's your plan at quarterback? Carson Beck's not a guy I've ever been high on or probably will be high on unless he proves me something different in the NFL. In college, he always talked about how football was just football. It wasn't life. He didn't really care about it. I mean, he liked football, but he didn't love it. And you'll never find people in this sport that succeed if they just don't love it. You have to love it. It's your obsession. If you're not obsessed with the game of football, very rarely will you become an all-time great. And I'm not saying they want Carson Beck to be an all-time great. They're wanting him to just be serviceable. And I'm not even sure he could beat out Jacoby Brissett or Gardner Minshew on that roster. And those are two very good veteran quarterbacks, but they're not going to win games. If I was the Cardinals, the quarterback I would have went after if he didn't want to come, understood. But I wouldn't want anybody other than Jimmy G in this system. Jimmy G knows how to win, and he knows how to win in this system specifically. LaFleur is going to run a very Shanahan zone run heavy scheme, which fits this team, but I don't think they have the quarterback that's going to maximize this system. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they end up getting a better grade. Maybe they even have a worse grade. Maybe everything I thought they did good this offseason was wrong. Maybe they just made all these errors. But we'll find out in time. Let's move on to our next team, the San Francisco 49ers. One of the most historic franchises in all of football, haven't won since the 90s, and I'm confused about their offseason. I gave them a B. I liked some of their moves, but the one that has me so questioned is why do we sign Mike Evans? Mike Evans is injury prone, and you're bringing him to a spot where all these players get injured more than anywhere else. And the reason is everybody wants to bring up that there's this electrical magnetic field that they practice near, and there's this weird conspiracy theory that has something to do with it. Incorrect. The reason the Niners struggle with injuries year in, year out is because of the training regimen that Kyle Shanahan puts them through. I'm not saying I'm against it because I always say you got to train hard to win hard. But you have to have a limit on how hard you're training your players, especially when you have one of the oldest rosters in all football, which the Niners do. And the other thing that's struggling with the Niners is they haven't had a good draft since 2021. Actually, 2020, if you want to be technical. John Lynch has forgotten how to draft, and he's overdrafting every year. This wide receiver they drafted in the second round out of Ole Miss should not have been drafted until the high second round, low third round. He was drafted very high second round. That should have never happened, and it did. And I don't know how you could say that should have happened. I don't know how the Niners are okay with that. Granted, if you see a player and you're convinced with that player, go get him. There's a reason he was there at 33, and nobody else is going to go get him. And you could see there wasn't a receiver run until the 60s. He was picked in the 30s. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Niners made all these pieces. If they can stay healthy, they're a team that's going to be contending for a Super Bowl. But the other problem I have with the Niners is everybody acts as if Brock Purdy's a superhero of a quarterback. Take out his first 2 years when he had the Avengers around him. Brock Purdy's a okay to good quarterback. He's not this great all-time great quarterback. And if you want my honest opinion, I don't even think he's the best quarterback on the roster. If I were the Niners, Mac Jones would be my franchise quarterback. He's got the better arm. He's not as mobile as Purdy. But when you watched the Niners last year, Purdy could make some things happen in a crazy pocket. But on timing, I believe Mac Jones was actually better than Brock Purdy. And I know some of you are going to go, whoa, 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 what are you saying? Are you saying that? Yes, because this system isn't about who the quarterback is. It's about Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan doesn't need all these crazy things from their quarterback. He just needs them to hit their hitch, hit the route. And Mac Jones did that a lot better last year than Brock Purdy did. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Brock Purdy was just banged up last year, and he'll be back looking like the Brock Purdy of old. But I haven't seen the Brock Purdy of old in 2 years. And he's lost Debo. He's no longer going to have Brandon Ayuk. Kittle's going to come back probably mid-season. Now, there's rumors he might be there week 1, which I don't know how. He just ruptured his Achilles in January. But he is a freak of nature, and I love George Kittle. But I just don't see where the Niners are going to get over that hump and finally win their first Super Bowl under Shanahan. I just don't think they have the roster for it. But maybe I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. But let's get the first place, and we all know who it is. It had to be the Los Angeles Rams, who get the highest grade of the offseason in an A+. This was the best offseason I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. They've improved all 3 levels of their defense. Defensive end, they got the best defensive end in my generation in Myles Garrett. They might be bringing back Aaron Donald, who hasn't played in 3 or 4 years. And then you add the whole Kansas City Chiefs secondary and Trey McDuffie and Jalen Watson, and their safeties were already good. This Rams defense has a potential to be a top 5 defense of all time if they can just put the pieces together and mesh. I love everything they did. Offensive-wise, they're already set off. You got Sean McVay. You got Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. You got Kyron Williams. That offense is ready to roll. All they need is a defense that can get consistent stops and a special teams unit that isn't the worst we've ever seen. And they will. I love the hire of Bubba Vitrone from the Cleveland Browns. He used to be on the Colts. He's one of the best special team coaches in all football. The Rams are here to contend, not just this year, but going forward. And the other reason I said it's the best offseason I've ever seen, they have their plan in place. What happens if Stafford retires in the next 2 years? You have Ty Simpson. I'm on record right now. I wasn't there for the draft, but I will always say Ty Simpson is a better NFL prospect than Fernando Mendoza. Ty Simpson was asked to do more at the University of Alabama than Fernando Mendoza was at the University of Indiana. All Mendoza had to do was do RPOs and hit the little throws. He was never asked to carry the load, and you don't really want to because when you ask your quarterback to carry that kind of load, they never win games. But Ty Simpson was asked to make NFL progressions on a consistent basis, and he did. And it was awesome to watch. Now, granted, at the end of the year, he tailed off, but he kind of got a little banged up. And availability counts into your grade. But I believe Ty Simpson in a Sean McVay system is going to be the best quarterback in this draft class. And Ty Simpson will be a name that you will hear for the next 10 years. I guarantee it. But thank you so much for watching this episode of King's Corner. you disagree with any of these grades, tell me why. Tell me, am I wrong? Is there any move I missed that you're like, whoa, 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 how is that grade that low with this move? But please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with the AFC West and our final team in our division offseason rankings. And then next week, we're on to the NBA. Thank you so much. Until tomorrow, King's Corner.